Hey everyone, it's time for Puzzle Talk, the geocaching puzzle podcast brought to you by the Geocache Talk Network. If you'd like to become a patron, click on the Become a Patron link on the front page of the Geocache Talk website, or head on over to patreon.com/Geocache Talk for more details. Patrons get the now famous bobblehead. Oh, sorry, not the bobblehead. They get the blackout coin. I don't get to show up very often anymore. There's the blackout coin right there. Oh, Tom might have it. Anyway, he's trying. You're too late. Never mind. Other geocaching items.
Oh, this one was on top. There's a Crazy 8 one. No, you mean this one?
That one. There you go. Okay, good. Bonus content.
Kind of partial to that one, though.
Like the book club was last night. Invites to special events like we had at Mingo. We had a great breakfast event only for patrons, and of course patrons with their +1s were there. Support levels start at as low as Bison Tube level. That's just $3 a month. Here are your hosts, who one of them is fried to a crisp, and the other is Charles Watkins, Pathfinder 33, and Tom Brotherman, Electric Water Boy. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening. Everybody get their bobblehead? Bobblehead.
I got mine.
I have to be careful not to. I don't want to damage the guy. Bobblehead.
Yeah, that was kind of a neat little deal. They made a set for all of the Mingo Amigos at the Mingo Madness Mega.
Yep.
All of the Mingo's Amigos got a special commemorative one that had a different plaque at the bottom of it that said Mingo's Amigo. Then they created this version for non-Mingo Amigos, and they only made 50 of these.
Oh.
So if you got one at Mingo,
cool.
And you got one of 50. I heard dirty rumor that there are just a couple of them that are left, and they're going to be listed on eBay for sale. So if you want one,
eBay,
you go over and check out Fleabay for a Signal bobblehead, and potentially can get one there. I know there was a eBay auction that ended earlier today for one. And so I have a feeling that there may be a couple of more. So if you did not get to attend the Mingo Madness mega event this past weekend and you want one, keep your eyes out on eBay.
That's right.
And you can see if you can pick one up there.
So you've been found out. Lolo's Dream says it looks like you got a haircut.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Good morning to everybody down under. Pardon me. First comment was Pizza Ninja. Good day, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Good morning, Kim. She's in South Australia. Darren, good day. What I was going to say, wrapping up the comment I made about the breakfast. Breakfast was great. Got to see a lot of faves. Met a few new ones. Yes, had a lot of fun there at the breakfast. Gave away a bunch of stuff. Gave away a box of swag. So that was a lot of fun. I don't think anyone has. So we're discontinuing that. And let's see. And he's got some funds to cover the madness. Yeah. Oh, Ryan could still probably use some of that. I'll try to get you some information on that. more for that. Can you put final chords to puzzles on eBay and sell them? It's interesting. I guess you could.
I guess it depends.
Sell a piece of paper, and if there just happens to be something written on it, well, then
Might not be any good, but
Right? Yeah.
oh well. Back to you, Charles. Sorry.
All right, let's do some news, Gary.
Let's do some news.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Puzzle Talk merch is still available in the Geocache Talk store. So go to geocachetalk.com and click on the store tab at the top right, or you can go directly to the store at chromiaprint.com/collections/geocaching. There you will find all of the Geocache Talk Network's merchandise, not only Puzzle Talks, but if you want to get in on the puzzle fun that is on the back of the Geocache Talk Puzzle Cruise t-shirt, that's where you can find one. So go over there, support your shows, support the Geocache Talk Network, and go grab one of our Puzzle Talk shirts, because you still got a shot at something here. We'll touch back on that here in just a second, but moving right along, the Mingo Madness Mega was a hit this last weekend. If you weren't there, you missed out, and we wish that you had been there. But it looks like mega events are coming back to a location near you soon this summer.
Yep.
So if you haven't attended one of the 2 mega events that have happened in the U.S. so far this year, there's still time for you to get in on the Mega Madness that is going to be happening. It was great to see so many of our listeners. We're thankful for them. We're glad that you came by the booth and saw us while we were there, or caught us while we were out walking around, and took a moment to chat with us. We appreciate that. We appreciate you listening in, and we appreciate the advice that was given to us from a couple of our patrons and people who listen to the show. So we're definitely going to take some of the constructive criticism that we got while we were at Mingo and try to apply it to forthcoming shows for you. And
Yes.
then to the news that everybody wants to know about.
They're on pins and needles.
That's it. Today is the 11th. And that was the deadline that we gave for this craziness. But we are happy to announce that we do have at least one solver that has confirmed the shirt puzzle with us via email. Right?
Yes.
We have several that have been working hard on it, that have been sending in emails. We got stopped at the Mingo Madness event plenty of times to persuade or give way or something for people who had questions about the puzzle. Remember that there is still a container with coins at the coordinates you get for solving the puzzle, right? So once we have confirmed that the puzzle has been solved and the coins have been picked up from said location.
There we are at the.
That's right. There we are. A small tutorial to a camera.
Yeah.
But once we've confirmed that that somebody has gone to the actual location and retrieved the box that I hid with coins in it.
Yep.
Then we will share on a future show how to solve the puzzle on the back of the shirt for those who are wondering. So, without further ado.
Now, I got a question.
Oh, wait, what?
Do I have to wait until they find that cache before I can have my Whataburger, or can I go get one now?
I think
you should have brought one home before the show. That way you could have eaten it.
While we're right.
No, you did on the show. I'll do it next week.
That's right. But congratulations to Steve Craybill, aka Direwolf, on being the first person to successfully email in correct coordinates to the puzzle. So there you have it. Steve
Woohoo!
Direwolf, congratulations. He is the winner of the 1-year premium membership to geocaching, along with a Puzzle Talk coin. Gary's he getting a? Does he get a plain? What was
Yeah, he gets the
plain old Sunday show?
Yeah, it gets the plain old Sunday show.
And
Yep.
then we'll send you a message, Steve, but he gets another one of my trackables because I already sent him one because we're Bears fans.
Right.
So he's already got one of those, but I'll send him another one. And then Tom's going to eat a Whataburger number 4 in your honor. So congratulations, Steve. I know that he trust me, he sent me plenty of wrong answers.
He was all over it though. I remember you telling me that he took a crack at it early, and you're like, nope.
Yeah, nope.
Nope.
But it was funny, and you know, it was funny because he sent me a correct answer, and then I sent him an email back that said something to the effect of, I wish there was a way that you could build one of these, you know, build it and double check your answer before you send me another wrong answer. Right. And
Right.
he sent me the correct answer. And so then he goes in and he was like, wait, was I wrong?
Yeah.
You know, he's like, no, I found this resource and used it. And it came up identical to what's on the shirt. And I was like, oh yeah, you sent in the correct answer. I was just pulling your leg and whatnot. So we shared a couple of funny emails back and forth for that. So congratulations to Steve. He did promise that he was not going to give any hints. So if you're working on the puzzle,
keep going. Yeah.
Fishing Kitty. If you're working on it, because she came by and hit
right
at Mingo plenty of times.
She was fishing for answers that day.
That's right. You know, don't bother sending Steve a message because we swore him to secrecy with sweet swag. So,
absolutely.
There you go.
And don't bother asking me for hints either, because Charles didn't share how to solve it with me yet.
And Tom
I don't know.
But I will tell you, for everybody that has, because I have gotten this several times and I have shared it with several people, and so I will share it with the masses right here on the show. A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3.
Perfect.
There you go. You've got the exact same hint that I have given Direwolf, that I gave Darren in Australia, and that I gave Fishing Kitty, is that somehow, in order to convert everything out to coordinates, A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. There you have it.
Lolo's dream. His wife does accept bribes for puzzle help.
You know,
nice.
She's pretty good at them.
Is she pretty good puzzle person?
Oh, yeah. She was for East Texas 1 year. She was the puzzle solving team at Texas Challenge. And a lot of the caches that we got were puzzles that she had solved. And she wasn't even at the event. She was one of those events that we couldn't make. So we took photos of the puzzles and sent them to her, and she solved them and sent us back correct coordinates for it. So
sweet.
Have it.
No video. I'll eat it live.
I don't know if I want to see all that. That could be kind of disgusting.
That's a lot.
We're gonna get a video of Tom eating this celebratory meal. I say no on that one.
You get to see the food coma and the brain freeze.
So, not to keep rubbing it in for those who didn't go, but I did want to show everybody. The whole Puzzle Talk team was there together. If it could focus, that'd be great. Though, wouldn't it be great if it would focus? Oh well. There we are.
There's a
Might not be
raccoon on the right.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
There we are. And look, the day of the photo, I'm wearing the Puzzle Talk shirt.
That's it.
Charles was wearing his later, but not that day.
Yeah, I wore mine the next day,
yeah.
Of the actual mega event.
Yeah. Well, I had somebody to go through. Different ones I wanted to iterations. So, Gary's want to know what a number 4 is. So
that's regular with jalapenos and cheese. But if you want to up it even more, have them grill the onions.
Ooh, got to have the grill
and grill the jalapenos.
Yeah, yes, put them together. Grilling them.
And Charles, you said what was a number 2?
It's a double.
It's a number 1 doubled. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a double meat. So I get a double meat, double cheese with no onions and grilled jalapenos. Every now and then.
I would go with a Dr. Pepper shake, but that's just me.
Yeah.
That's the way I would go.
Oh yeah, and the spicy ketchup.
Oh, spicy ketchup. Yeah, see, he knows what he's talking about. Gary's he's familiar with the Whataburger lingo. They come in black containers, little black. And those are the spicy ketchup.
He's in San Antonio. He knows.
Oh, okay. Good deal. Yes.
Okay, so for tonight's show, you're going to need 3 things.
Sunscreen.
No.
you needed sunscreen.
You needed sunscreen at the mega event.
You're looking a little more. You're looking as not as red as you were, but if you'll look, I
was the beacon at our booth.
Yeah, you got Gary, Tom, Jesse got sunburned.
Yes, and that was all. You know where we got that, Charles?
It was on that
Little Jerusalem.
Yeah, because there's no shade out there.
Well, you and I would have gotten even more if we hadn't left. We were ready to move on, but
yeah,
I stood out there and talking to your. So tell everybody real fast you ran into this is why you go to megas, because it is insane the things that can happen, the small world that can happen. I mean, megas, I could go on, which I won't, but megas, there's 1,000 reasons why you want to go. But
we're standing out there at Little Jerusalem, a side event.
Yep.
This guy comes up and looks at me, and he's like,
"You did.
We were familiar." And then he looked at me. He goes, "Have you ever geocached in Aruba?"
Out of the blue, he says this.
Aruba, and I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you host an event in Aruba?" Yeah. No, man, I knew it was you. I got a picture of your wife's feet.
That's incredible.
But he was at
that story there.
But he was at our event in Aruba, and we went and got on the little bus that went around the island and went geocaching with him for a good part of the day down there. And so it was a really cool experience to, out of the blue from nowhere, this guy's just,
yeah.
You ever host an event in Aruba?
I found that to be crazy.
I want to know what he's doing taking a picture of your feet.
Really? Laura, there are stories that they will take years before you hear. No, I'm kidding.
So, yeah, it was a good time. He was there, and I'd run into him a couple of other times, throughout the
yeah.
But it was funny. He was on the same cruise ship with us.
That's insane. Think about that.
We ended up running into him a couple more times on that cruise. We ran into him in Curacao, and thankfully we didn't run into him while we were on St. Martin, which is where we had to walk across the nude beach to get to one of Doug McRae's caches that's there on St. Martin. So thankfully he wasn't at that beach with us at that point in time.
Clothing optional beach there.
It was a.
Are they trackable?
Hey.
I don't think Lolo's Dreams feet are trackable. I don't.
No,
think.
but they should be, and put half the coat on one foot and the other half on the other.
There you go.
So yeah, it was just a very interesting conversation there for a while. But those are things that you're only going to get at mega events.
Oh yeah, I mean
we hadn't seen this guy in years.
Oh yeah, and
yeah,
we're down south of Oakley. We're not at the event.
It's just some random side event.
Yeah, we're at a side event, and we stood out there in the sun. That's where I got all that sun, and I ran into those two, him and the lady, a couple times, even after that as far as what we're there,
right?
But yeah, I mean, but it's so great. All the people, I know we need to get moving on, but Dave Barsky hung out with us a little bit, which was great. Got to meet Doug McCrae, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
Barsky won the door prize that I supplied part of.
Yes, he was pretty excited to win your auctioned item, whatever it was, and it was Mr. Mingo. What was that? Mr. Mingo's a beer?
Yeah, made by Jester King. That's a brewery out of Austin.
Yeah, he was fired up that he won Mr. Mingo, and pretzels and a mug,
peanuts, and glass. A couple of mug steins, and it was cool.
So yeah, we'll pepper stories in as time goes on, but that was pretty insane.
Yeah. So all right, for tonight's show, you're going to need three things. You're going to need a book. You're going to need some brain power, and you're going to need time. 3 is probably the most important one.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, is it?
That's right.
There's a song.
You got books and time, huh, Tom?
I got books and time.
So, all right. So let's jump into this. Tonight's show, we're talking about a book cipher, right? So what is a book cipher, and is it really a cipher, right?
Ooh.
So a book cipher is a cipher in which the key is some aspect of a book or other piece of text. Books being common and widely available in modern times, users of book ciphers take the position that the details of the key is sufficiently well hidden from attackers in practice, right? This is in some ways an example of security by obscurity. Right? It's typically essential that both correspondents not only have the same book, this is the key, but you have the same edition, right?
Yes.
And not only the same edition, but the same version of that, be it hardback, softback, etc. Because even though you may have the same book and the same version, the same edition, if you don't have the same version, i.e., one of you has a hard copy and one has a soft copy, not everything will line up. So traditionally, book ciphers work by replacing words in the plain text of a message with the location of words from a book being used. In this mode, the book cipher is more properly called a code. But book cipher is the term that all of this is thrown under. So we're going to run with it, even though probably traditionally it falls under the code category and not a cipher. So there you have it.
Yeah. Okay. I can see though, but wouldn't you agree, you two guys, and we'll get, I guess, both y'all's opinion, but when I think of a code, I think of it more in I don't know. I don't think of it like a book cipher. I don't know. I just see the two as
thinking like a code is A = 1, B = 2, C = 3 kind of thing.
Yeah.
a cipher can bounce around to everything.
Yeah, I mean, Route 13 to me is a cipher. Is it a code? Substitution. It's a substitution cipher, right? You're substituting, you're rotating the numbers.
But that's not where A equals right. But that's not A equals 1, B equals 2, right?
Oh, true.
That's where A equals Q.
Yeah.
Right? B equals R and C equals S, right? So you shift it to where now letters equals letters. There's no, everything's in plain text, right? There's no unscrambling that you have to do. You just have to figure out how to you have to figure out what the code is, and we'll get to that here in a minute.
Right.
Some examples of this, but these are, extremely fun, but are usually very shied away from because they can go from very simple to extremely difficult. And so if you're looking to get into trying to do book ciphers, you need to definitely look at the difficulty rating on these caches, because they can go everything from a 1.5 or a 2 to a 4.5 or a 5. I have a 4.5 difficulty book cipher out there, and it hasn't been solved all that many times. And it's been out there since, I don't know, I think the last person to actually find it was in 2019. But they're super fun. They can be easy to solve, depending on the code and the book, right? Codes can be written in very, very different patterns, right? So, where you could go, some examples of that are something like they'll give you a page, a line, and then a word. So it'll be on the cache page, it may look like 144-12-7, right? So that's page 144, the 12th line down the page, and then the 7th word in, whatever that word may be, right? And there may be more to it than that is, and that's assuming that you have a book that has written out numbers, and so then you could, like the 7th word might be 5, might be the word 5 written out. And so that's it. They could be something like page, line down the page, and then character in, right?
Ooh.
For a specific letter or number, right? That could be page 144, line 12 down the page, and character 29 on that line, whatever that character, and this is the hard part about this, is that you'll get a jumble of numbers, and we'll pull up some cache examples here in a bit and show you, but you'll get examples of these, and you've got to figure out what that means, right? Depending on the difficulty, it may be easy or may not be. The other thing to that is if you use a chapter novel, and I've seen this done one time, where they used the chapter, the page in that chapter, lines down the page, and then characters in, right, for a specific letter or number. Right. So the example here is chapter 3, page 8 in chapter 3, line 12 down, character 29 in, right? So this 3, 8, 12, 29 combination could actually be on page 67.
Oh.
Right?
Right.
It could be on page 67, right? Because it's chapter 3.
3, right.
Right? So you get to the first page in chapter 3.
Yeah.
And then you go 8 pages in chapter 3, right? So chapter 3 might start on page 61.
Right. But you didn't mention the page number.
Right. And so that's the hard part about this, is that you have to figure out what is the code and how do I break the code, and then go into the book and start looking at it. So it can get real deep real fast, and if you don't have the proper wading boots on,
Yes.
Boots,
you-
I'd say hip waders.
Yeah.
you
You
know
you get frustrated.
dirty.
Yeah.
There are people who get frustrated because I've had plenty of people post a DNF on my puzzle
Right.
because it is a 4.5 difficulty and because the hint is obscure. Who put on there that that there's not enough information to solve the cache. Well, there is.
There is.
It's just extremely difficult. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I straight up stole and copied this idea for this book from
You can do that.
from the language lady out in Nacogdoches. She's
Yeah.
a college professor out at NAC,
Yep.
where I got my college degree. And so there's a cache on campus. And when I moved back home to Odessa to take care of my mom, I created one just like it, straight up stole the idea. So tonight, for my cache, I'm going to tell you how to solve it, right? The 4.5 difficulty, so that you can take it back and build something similar to that and hopefully put it out there. I've got some fun stuff about the author and why I chose to do it the way that I did it. And whatnot, but straight up 100% stole the idea from somebody.
Oh, that's awesome.
After I solved their puzzle, right?
Right.
So I think I was the third to find on theirs.
Wow.
Third or fourth, but it trust me, it was when you get to the library and the book's gone, and you're like, right? And then you see a found it log posted on it, and you go back that same day, later that day, and the book is it is in the library. Then there you have it.
Just finding our way says you want to put on your side of town. Oh, Charles can travel. Don't worry about it.
I'm not. I got a bicycle.
Charles, he can get wherever he needs to get. Yeah. So the great Stephen F. Austin, by the way, in case anybody's wondering, where it's in Nacogdoches.
That's right.
The great Stephen F. Austin University. And I wanted to comment. Don Direwolf mentions the 201 geocaching to find before you die book work, and I would say no. And I'll explain why later that it would not be the one you want to use, but that's later.
So, all right. Let's see. So the more complex the book setup and page layout, the harder the code can be. Thus, the higher the difficulty needs to be.
Right.
Dun dun ta don.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I see where Gary has pulled in some stuff. A book cipher is also known as a Ottendorf cipher.
Yeah.
We'll let you take that portion and run with it real quick.
Yeah. Ottendorf cipher is a code in which numbers and letters are used to figure out what the person is talking about. One symbol means a letter or word. The other is the page you can find in a book, et cetera, et cetera. So Ottendorf is kind of that's the one that we always kind of hear about. It's the one that most people are familiar with if they've seen the movie National Treasure.
Right.
They refer to it.
The correct National Treasure movie.
Yeah, movie, the first one.
Right, because there's more than one National Treasure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. National Treasure movie, first one.
Right.
Yes.
So when they go in and do the Silence Do-Good letters,
yes,
kid in to look on a certain page and certain line down, certain characters in. This is exactly what this is talking about. And the Silence Do-Good letters written by Benjamin Franklin.
Correct. Which is interesting because of what he used. And again, Charles will cover later why it was probably important that they use something like that.
Correct.
Why you
Yes.
don't use something like my crazy 201 book, and I'll tell you why later.
So
Gotta stay tuned. Stay tuned for more.
all right. So we're going to look at a couple of examples real quick of book pages so that we know kind of what we're looking for when we look at some of these. So let me pull this one up as well. All right. So let me share this real quick.
Yep. While you're doing that, Lolo's Dream did mention that she has seen to where they used it in a Where-I-Go cartridge. And so, yes, there are some different ways that you can distribute it, I guess, or however you want to put that. This is a great one.
All right. So if this is page 3 on the left and 4 on the right of said Dr. Seuss book, right? It's going to be, this would be a good book if you want to make one that is fairly simple, right? You're limited on how many lines you have on the page. You're limited on how many characters in. You do have the word 10 down there for cats with 10 cats.
Oh, yeah.
So there are places where you can get numbers. Dr. Seuss is very good about having counting in his books, right? So throughout some of his books, he does have a plethora of numbers, right? So this would be a very simple and easy way to make a book cipher out of something. We just pulled a couple of random examples for things that would be easy to look at. But this example of a Dr. Seuss book, page 3 only has 6 lines on it, right? So if you're going to pick page 3, right, 6 lines on the page, whereas page 4 has 8 lines. So you have more to work with here.
Right.
So there's that one.
That's a good one.
Oh, go back to that though. Go back to that because this is a good example of something here. Because how are you getting to 10? If you were to use that number 10 in there, how would you write it?
I see what you're saying. He'll pull up. Just be it.
Yeah.
I see what you're thinking, Tom, because
there's more than one way to do it.
Yeah, more than one way to skin a cat to get to 10.
Right. Oh, absolutely. So this is where the fun in this comes. You have to be able to figure out what the code is. So if it's page 3, and then you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so you have 3-5-2, right? So that gives you.
That's what Direwolf said.
Yeah, page 3, line 5, the second word in. Now you could do it on a simple page like this. You could do it where you just give a page and word number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So you do 3-14.
3-14 would work, right? Exactly.
Right. Brings you to the same place.
And I was thinking 3-2-6.
Oh, 3-2-6.
Right. So now that's page 3, paragraph 2, 6th word.
Or sentence 2, either way. If it was multiple paragraphs, if this is a more involved book, you could get a whole lot deeper.
It can, and I'm about to show you that.
He's got that. Look out. You want complex, it's coming.
So this is by far and large is the simplest version of a book in which you can use that just gets your mind flowing in the creativity that is a book cipher or a Ottendorf cipher.
Right. Cool.
So let me close that one down and pull up this other one. This is going to be an example. Unfortunately, not all of these examples that I pulled have page numbers on them. But this is a version of the chapter book that I was talking about. This is a out of Moby Dick, right? So this is page 314, right? No, 214 and 215, right? But if you gave them chapter 40, right? So if you put 40, 1, and then 3-2, right? So that gives you chapter 40, page 1, third line down, second word in, which would be the word and, right?
So 40-1-3-2.
Right, would be in this situation, would give you this word right here, and, right?
Yeah.
Harpoons and sailors
Right.
is the line there, but it doesn't. Again, we're assuming that we're leaving the chapter 40 portion of this out, and that the first line is the actual first line in the textual writing of said chapter, which for this gives you the chapter title, which is Midnight Forecastle, right? And then Harpoons and Sailors. But you can go all the way down this into it, but you can see where chapter 40, page 1, is actually page 214 in the chapter novel, right?
Right. See, there's your complexity, because at least I'm thinking most everybody's going to go page 40,
Right.
line 1. I mean, I don't, and then you're like, well, so that's fascinating that you use chapter could be used instead of page. And it's like, oh, the plot will thicken there.
Right. Well, and so look at this. This is something else, and the Pizza Ninja brought this up, and I have seen one of these.
Yeah.
Are there any Shakespeare cipher puzzles with act scene line?
Yes, that would be a great one.
Absolutely. And if it doesn't exist in your neck of the woods, then my gosh, we nominate one.
Go make one.
Make one.
That's great.
Right. So there's so many odd references that you can make to this, that as long as people have access to not only the same book, or in this instant play, but the same version of it and the same edition, right? Then as long as they have that, or plays are all fairly standard in how they're all written out. But as long as you have the ability to gain access to that, why not? Why not make people's make people's minds work a little bit,
Sure.
And so here's where the complexity of some of this stuff comes from, and this is why my book is my puzzle cache for this is a 4.5 star difficulty. Now, this is a picture from a vintage dictionary. Right? So let me pull this up.
Yep.
Right? So this is page 1252 of a dictionary, of an old dictionary.
Very specific dictionary, right?
Right. So in this, you have 1252, right? So you give them a page reference,
right?
And you can give them 1, 2, 3, right? So you have column 1
columns
to column 3, right? Dictionaries are nasty, because if you go down the rabbit hole with a big dictionary in a library at the reference section,
yep,
it can get bloody. People will probably come and hunt you down because it becomes so meticulous to get it right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, dictionaries are often on that onion leaf paper, which is very thin, and so trying to count on it. So you give them a page number, column 1, 2, or 3, line down. In some of this, you can make it, instead of line down, you can say column 3. You can make it the 5th definition down, right?
Oh, yes.
And so then if you have a definition that has more than one entry in here, like soap, soap is in here, right? It's in the middle column. Dun, 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 dun.
Fifth definition.
Right. And so it has to rub or wash over with soap or to lather, right? So it's actually the sixth one down is what I was looking at. So it could give you, you can go all through some of this. No, I'm not worried about making friends. I got my.
Trent says, "Yeah, you sure aren't worried about making friends."
No, I'm not. But in all fairness, I'm going down this rabbit hole specifically because I have a puzzle cache that is a 4.5 star.
Yeah.
That is based just like this.
Right.
So we do have a couple of. Wait, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was saying Fishing Kitty was asking. You'll get to this in a minute though, but she wants to know: did you give them what book you were using in the description, or did you hide it somewhere?
No. So for my cache, and we'll look at it here in a moment. My cache, I specifically tell you the author, the year that it was produced, and the call number that's on the binding of the book where it's at in the library. So you can go straight to the library shelf, look down,
you'll
find said book. It'll be by Gage. You open it up. The front page tells you it was written in 1963. That's the book you need.
Yep.
Go have a seat at a table in the library and start crunching.
Use a reference book because they're typically are not checked out. So reference books are typically the best.
Right, because they generally speaking can't leave the library. When I set my book up, I bought a copy of it online.
Yeah.
I went down to the library. I said, this is what I want to do with this book. I want it to be in the reference section. The lady who was the head librarian at the time there was a geocacher. And so she just kind of laughed and said, okay. And so for years, she put it in, it was a book in the reference section. And then after she had retired and gone so long that, and the book not being checked out, they moved it out of the reference section into the general section.
Oh, dang.
Which is perfectly fine. You can check the book out and take it home with you. The last time I went to do cache maintenance, the cache was not there and the book was checked out of the library. I was going to check the book to make sure people hadn't written in the book.
Yeah.
Because I want the fun, same adventure for everybody. But the book was MIA from the library. So let's open up a couple of these cache pages. Most of these that we're going to look at today have either been archived or are in some way are disabled for one reason or another. Some of them are very straightforward and will tell you exactly what you're looking for.
Right.
So let's share a Chrome tab. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see, we want this one first. Okay, so this one straight up tells you that it's a book cipher, right? It's still a 2.5 star for difficulty, though. But one thing that I like about this one is he gives you, he breaks down what a book cipher is. He tells you the number of words in the key text sequentially. Write out your message. For each letter in your message, replace it with a number that corresponds to a word in the same first letter. Right. So he may give you something that starts with an F, and you got to figure out whether it's a 5 or a 4, and then send the sequence of numbers. The first two that we look at are fairly simple. He gives you your coded message. He tells you the book is the best-selling book in history, counting all languages and editions. Right? So the best-selling book of all time ever in the history of the planet, according to the Guinness Book of World Records,
It's not Gary's book.
It's not even close.
But what book is it, Tom?
The Bible.
It is the Bible, right? So the Bible is the best-selling book in history, counting all languages and editions, right? Something like 500 billion copies of the Bible have been sold. And it is the most widely translated book in the world as well, right? But he even he goes a step further than that. He tells you the edition that he's using was published in full in 1978 and gives you the publisher, right?
Yep. It's good clues. Good clues.
Right? He used a chapter that has somewhere in it a name beginning with an X. I'm not that familiar with this book, so I couldn't tell you what name starts with an X, but that's the chapter in which he used. So I guess you'd have to. I'm guessing he's asking like Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, those chapters.
Sure.
Right. So at some level, he's using the chapter with a author's name that starts with an X. And then he gives you your coded message, right? So you know which book you need. You know which version you need, right? The version from 1978 that was published by Zondervan, right? And then you know which chapter inside the book that you're looking for, right? So fairly straightforward. He gives you all the information that you need. You just have to go out and spend the time now to crack the code and figure out where he's going with it. So there's that one. Let's see. We'll do that, and then we'll do that. All right. And so this next one that we're going to share is along the same lines, right?
Yeah.
It's straight up. It's kind of hard to miss this one, right? This one's also been and has been archived. But what's the title of the cache? The Book Cipher, like you know what you're looking for when you go to look for this. This is a difficulty 2. So know that even in the easy versions of this, they're still not probably difficulty 1s unless you're using a Dr. Seuss book.
Sure.
So in this, he gives you first, I'm going to tell you that what the book cipher is. The cipher is also called the dictionary code, right? First, write out your secret message, then choose a piece of text agreed with by both, right? And my key text will be the hardcover version of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling, right?
Interesting. You mentioned hardcover. I guess that was important.
Because, again, hardcover, soft covers.
Yeah.
The pages are going to be different. Now, the other thing to this is that you have to make sure that you have the same version of this. And I say that because I know for a fact that there is a UK-based English and a American-based English version of the Harry Potter books, because at one point in time when I lived in we had the European version of the Harry Potter books, right? So they have the Queen's English and us ungrateful colonial version.
Ungrateful colonists.
That's right. So so the hardcover version of Harry Potter's Deathly Hallows. So I'm assuming that because this cache is placed in Illinois, or it was at some point in time, that we're looking at the English version of it.
Right.
He tells you to encrypt a word, you select a book, published piece of text, and you go through to decrypt it. You do the same thing, go to the page number, then go to the line and count off to the letter. It's simple as that. So in his version down here, he has bolded and non-bolded sections, right? So that's how you differentiate between one letter and the next.
Right.
So 115.1 would be page 1, line 15, the first letter on that line, right? And then the next one, 121.6, would be page 1, line 21, sixth character in, right?
I like how I did that to make it easier to read.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So so you don't get the numbers confused.
That makes sense.
There's another way that you can do this. Let me pull up these next two cache pages. Good. And this is I solved this one before, so we'll get this one down. But this is, you'll see down here that there's one way to write your code with bold and non-bold to show alternating letters.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to show you the cache page that I straight up stole the idea from with my smiley face on it. And so
You didn't steal it, you borrowed it permanently.
That's right.
Let's see. So this one is called The Secret in Knack Undetected by the Joker 21 and Language Lady, right? Is a 4.5 star for difficulty.
Wow.
Right? And so they give you this cool little poem right here.
Yeah.
But right here, this paragraph is the important one right here, right? Language Lady and Joker have both taught for an age, which is why the secret resides in a book by Gage. LB 1028.G3 was written in 1963, right? So now it gives you the call letters for the book, the author's last name, and its publication date, right? 1963.
Yep.
LB 1028.G3 is in the library, and then it's written by Gage, Nathaniel Gage. And I like this one so much that I straight up stole it.
I like the idea though of the poem though, Charles. That's a cool. You could throw a poem together, that kind of gives a little bit. I like gives a little flavor to it. Let's put it that way.
Right. So this is where this is another way of differentiating the numbers in the sequence. Is instead of making them bold, not bold, bold, not bold, is you just put one item per line.
I like it. Yep.
So we'll get out of theirs real quick, and then we'll get into mine that I shamelessly stole.
Yep. Pardon me.
All right, so this one is called The Secret Out Back instead of The Secret in Knack Undetected. Right? And this one, again, has a cool little poem in it, right?
I like it.
So Pathfinder's mom has taught for an age, which is why the secret resides in a book by Gage. Right? 370.72G13 or 133H was written in 1963. Seeking the book and breaking the code will lead to the cache if you just do not fold. Right? So
Little Dream says, "If no stealing, if you give credit, so you're okay."
that's so. And when you look at the hint on this, it says, "I hear that Dewey would argue that symbols don't count." I wonder what he meant. But I'm sure he would suggest that you read carefully. Now, in this book is a book written by Nathaniel Gage. In 1963, he wrote a book called The Handbook of Research on Teaching.
Okay.
My mom actually, when I was talking to her about this, actually used this book in school when she was going to get her teaching degree from the University of Texas. So
How about that?
she actually had used this book in one of her college classes. In this, you have, so you can see that on the first line, you have 4 sets of numbers, right?
Right.
So 519, 2, 18, 26. If you look up and down these columns, you'll see a reoccurring theme in one of these sections of numbers.
I'm looking. 2. I see 2 a lot.
Ones and twos.
Ones and twos. Now, what does that bring us back to?
Huh.
It should bring us back to the dictionary that we just looked at that had
columns.
Columns.
Ones
right?
and twos, columns. Because you probably, yeah.
So this book is written to where it has 2 columns on each page.
Wow.
So you need to go to page 519, column 2, line down in column 2, line 18, and the 26th character in. But there's a twist. And this is where the hint comes from, is that it says, I hear that Dewey would argue that symbols don't count. Right?
Symbols do not count. Okay.
Symbols do not count. So this is a book that was written about teaching. So there are plenty of places where there are quotation marks, there are hyphens, where there are parentheses.
All symbols.
All symbols.
Those
don't count. So when you're looking for the 26th character in, depending on the line, it may actually be the 30th real character all the way through, because you're not going to count commas, you're not going to count hyphens, you're not going to count periods, you're not going to count dollar symbols, quotation marks, parentheses, right? So anything that is a symbol that's not a letter, asterisks, right?
Yeah.
All of that stuff doesn't count, right? Which is where this puzzle gets its 4.5 difficulty from, right?
Right.
Did I misspell Dewey? How come nobody in like 8 years of this has corrected me that I've misspelled Dewey?
Did you? Let me see the Dewey Decimal System.
Because we know who typed it.
Well,
we know what you meant.
So, right. So it's page, column, line down, and then I don't want to say character in, it's letter in.
Which is, it's funny that you took that out, because it's called the Dewey Decimal System. So,
right. I'm going to that so nobody can see.
Kind of funny that you took out the. Yeah, so, Dewey's with an E.
Do you count the spaces?
No, so you don't count spaces. You count numbers and letters only, right? And so because this book is a teaching book, right, that is, man, I'm getting it hard now.
But
right, because this is numbers and letters only, and this is a teaching book, there are plenty of times where throughout the course of this book, he gives you just straight up numbers, right? He'll have 2, 1, 5, 7, 6 written in the text of the line. And so I'll tell you that this first line, the 519-2-18-26, if you don't get an in there,
right,
you're in trouble.
Right.
And then the same thing goes for So this line right there ought to give you a north, a N.
An N, right.
Right? And then you have degrees, decimal, and then decimal minutes. And so this page right here, 1194-2-20-42, this last line right there, if you don't get a W with that line,
right,
you're probably doing something wrong.
And a 0 on the next one.
Makes sense.
Right? And so, and then 1, 2, 3, right? So it gives you your north, your 2 digits for your degrees,
right?
your digits for your minutes, and then your 3 digits for your decimal minutes. And then a west, 2 digits for your degrees, 2 digits for your minutes, and then, 3 digits for your degrees in your westerly coordinates. So
Right.
1, 2, 3, and then you got 2 digits for your minutes, and then 3 for your decimal minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Decimal minutes, not seconds.
That's right, decimal minutes.
I learned that on an earlier puzzle talk. That's not seconds. That's decimal
Not
minutes.
seconds.
That's right.
But it's funny. I just want to say real fast that on a on an evil version of this, I can see Tom using spaces because a space is
It's a character.
It's a character point in a sense.
Right. So, but I do have a checker for this one. This is one of the only ones that I have not converted over to the built-in Groundspeak
right.
checker. And I may do that here at the end of this show, go in and change that. But there is currently a GeoChecker for this puzzle because it is a 4.5 star on the geochecker.com. Now, if you can somehow find a version of this hardback book made by Gage in 1963 that is the Handbook of Research on Teaching, then you can decipher not only this puzzle, but the one that we showed just before it, because they both use the same book.
Ah, how about that?
So then you can solve one in Far East Texas and in Far West Texas.
Far West Texas, exactly.
One of them definitely gets found more than the other. And it's not mine.
The one over in Naka Nowhere? Wow.
The one over in Naka Nowhere, because there are so many college kids.
Oh, true.
That are also geocachers, college professors that are geocachers.
Yeah.
And so, and because enough college kids are geocachers that come in and cycle in the fall or the spring that are transferred.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right? It definitely gets found more often than mine out in West Texas that seems to have a revolving door for oil field workers.
It's a lot of, and there's not that many.
Right. That in their
people in general.
Yeah. Right. They're in their time off, they're not going to go hang out at the library and read up.
Probably not.
1963.
Probably not.
Tom did throw a couple in here, and so let's share those real quick.
Yes.
One of them is disabled.
Yeah, but that's a good one to put up.
And the other one has been archived. So
also
it looks like out of the 6 caches that we shared tonight, 4 of them are either temporarily disabled or archived. So let's see. We'll do the fire starter cache. This one is temporarily disabled. It is a difficulty 3, terrain 4.
Every bit of a 4.
All of these GC codes are in our show notes. So if you go and check out our show notes, I know for our audio listeners, we didn't share the GC codes. My apologies. I know that I talked to one guy who said, I listen to your podcast all the time, while I'm delivering mail, so I don't ever look at it. So if you don't ever do a good job of orally explaining,
Yes.
look at this, then I'm kind of lost while I'm delivering the mail. But we do appreciate our audio listeners, so we will do a better job of explaining it. For this one, it is GC1XBTA. So there's the GC code for this one. And so this one, Tom, you want to take a run at it? I'm assuming you've either solved both of these.
I've solved both of them. So look at the code there and take a stab at what you think it might be.
Huh. So the letters at the beginning are just to give you. Oh, I see. Okay, I see. Okay, letters give you the. Okay, got it.
Yeah, the letters are where it's going to go.
A is where it falls into the coordinate. Gotcha. So the first one is it. If I could read it, is it 02, 01,
03, 05.
03, 05?
Yeah, you passed your driver's license test.
Well, barely. Now I can really see it. 02, 01. Interesting because the next
Go
one's
ahead and hit the decrypt.
11, 22, 21, 27. So you've got okay, the ISBN. Yep.
So that was important because that's a specific edition of this book.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's the ISBN is is very specific. And to get a book published, you have to have an ISBN, which stands for the International Standard Book Number. In case you were wondering.
I was wondering.
Yeah, the International Standard Book Number.
This gives you Stephen King's Firestarter.
Right.
Correct.
Audio book.
Oh, it's an audio book?
Not this one. This one's a paperback.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that first number.
02.
What do you think the first number is?
Well, I wanted to look at the rest of them. So B has numbers like 11, 22, 27. So just from what we learned tonight, I would not think columns because you're not going to have 27 columns in a book. My first thought is always, what's that? But my first thought is you would do chapter. In this case, I would think chapter, line, word, letter. And I guess I'd try to go from there and see what happens.
I'd go chapter, paragraph.
Oh, there you go. Paragraph 2. That's a good idea.
So I'd go chapter, paragraph, line, and then character in on that line is the 5 or 27.
Yeah.
3, 27, 22, 46. Yeah, I would probably that at least in the beginning and see if in this case I would assume that this book's going to spit out a number. It's not going to spit out like a letter, right? Or
correct.
You're looking for a specific number.
Right. You're looking for
it's going to be a specific number. So if 2135 doesn't land me on a number on a page, then I'm going to go back to the drawing board and try something else. But initially, I would probably do chapter, paragraph, line, and then character in on that line.
Character, right?
Am I close? Are we ballpark?
Y'all are almost in the ballpark, except for this has something that we hadn't mentioned tonight. Besides chapters, this had sections.
Sections.
So section 1's got chapter 1 to 10 or whatever. Section 2's got 1 to 10 or whatever.
Oh.
So I believe this was section, chapter, paragraph, word.
Yeah, because Darrell's saying exactly there would be 22 paragraphs probably. That'd be a lot for a page.
Has he not opened a Stephen King novel?
maybe that's true too. And Jeff
That-
was saying F's last number is 46. Not sure what that means.
Well, yeah. So if you look down here on F, the last number is 46. So it can't be.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a high number, right? That it's got to be the last thing's got to be characters.
I would think right. Or yes.
Right.
I believe the last one was word.
Word maybe?
Word.
I think
Paragraph.
it was section, chapter, paragraph, word.
And the word was probably a number in a word.
And word was a number.
Okay.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me knowing Stephen
A
King.
character of a line or maybe a word. Yeah. There's some Pizza Ninja was mentioning earlier, there are Braille book ciphers. I'm sure there are. Because there are Braille books that you can.
I got a closet full of them.
Yeah, see, so.
Oh man, it's we've unleashed the beast.
Yeah,
Now.
I tell you. So, real quick on that though, Tom, is there a Braille book that you have that you would think more than likely is a standard book that you think most people could get a hold of?
Ooh,
I mean, is there like a standard?
no.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Braille books I have are the ones she made at school. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's different. Okay.
Okay, and so this is the last cache that we're going to look at, at least for tonight. It is GC 5YAFW. It has been archived. It is called Fun Puzzle number 4.
So this is a little different from the others, but it's still a book in a library.
Okay.
Okay.
Reference book in a library, and if I remember correct, there's two digits on the thing, right?
Yes.
There is.
It gives you puzzle. This is level 1 puzzle masters. If you can solve this without the explanation, you're way beyond me.
Yeah, so 53-1 is an example, or 58.
So scroll on down to the explanation.
42-9. Oh.
Wait, so we're only looking for three digits here.
So north is, you already give the 29 degrees, 38.xxx.
Right. So all of this, the 53-1, 58-6, 42-9, all ends up filling in your XXX.
So
for your northerly coordinates.
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
Some level that you're looking for probably letters to spell
a number. Oh, yeah, to spell a number probably.
To spell 444.
Right, or SIX for 6, or right.
Right.
Same thing for west.
And so the same thing for west. Here's the explanation for level 2 puzzlers. He gives you the book cipher.
Okay. Right.
Possible giveaways. Book codes tend to be fairly secure as long as the book is not known. It is very tough to crack as far as recognizing it. I usually look for the first number in the number set, page number, to be much larger than the following number.
Right.
In this case, you will get the book. The book will give you a chance to see the world. And he gives you a number, right? So that's either a call number or
it's an it sounds like an atlas.
Yep. It was.
Oh, and the atlas has squares. Am I on the right track?
I think so.
Because you
And
can
it's been a long time, and I don't have notes on this because this is pre-notes.
but usually in an atlas, if you look at a world atlas where it's got maps, and the maps have, you could count the number of squares, like you would count over, say, well, 53 would be a lot of squares. But the second number though looks like it doesn't get up very large.
I vaguely remember.
So it could be the name in that square. So it'd be the character, it'd be maybe the 53rd character in the first square of on the atlas. So in the atlas there might be a word or maybe several words, but it's in that square. So it probably has like city names. Blah, blah. I can speak tonight. City names. So
I can't remember country name. I was thinking it was page number and whatever country that was listed. The first country or sixth country or something like that.
Direwolf say Oxford Atlas of the World is that Isbin. Cool.
Yeah. So you're not just limited to, obviously, you're not just limited to, traditional books with these. You can let your mind go wild with it. But this is a fun way to,
right,
depending on where you live, to spend some time in a air-conditioned library in the summertime and spend a couple of hours trying to solve a puzzle or two. I gave you the way to solve my puzzle, which in turn spoiled Language Lady's cache. Sorry, but it's a good. It gives you a good example. We've given you 6 caches tonight that give you a good example of everything from 2 difficulties to 4.5 difficulties.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've given you lots of resources or ways in which to write your code so that you can have one available for people going forward trying to, if you want to make one of these caches and get it put out in the wild and whatnot. So, keep plugging away at these. This is a fun way to spend some time, but they're time consuming to make. They're time consuming to beta test, and they're time consuming for the cachers that go out to find them. So make sure that if you do one of these caches, that you make it kind of, I don't want to say worthwhile, but make it worthwhile. Give them a large container, or don't
absolutely
don't give them
no pill containers under a lamp skirt.
Right. So give them something to run with. So we appreciate everybody who has tuned in. If you tuned in late, then Direwolf, aka Steve, did solve the puzzle cache puzzle on our shirt first. So he is the big winner of the sweet swag. But there is still a container hidden at those coordinates with two trackables in it: an unactivated blue Puzzle Talk coin and an unactivated Pathfinder 33 trackable. So keep cracking at it. Don't send Steve any unsolicited emails. He said he wasn't going to answer it. But if you take a stab at it, you can email the Puzzle Talk crew at puzzletalkpodcast@gmail.com, and we will respond to all of your emails with a right or wrong and whatnot. Darren, there's nothing wrong with still solving a puzzle.
Yep.
And you never know. You might, by the time you get here, it might still be there.
It might still be there. You never
You
know.
never know.
Yeah.
I know.
I think if somebody finds it, we should probably let people know so they don't traipse all the way out there. And
oh yeah, as soon as we have confirmation that somebody has picked up the
swag,
the container and
the treasure,
everything, and please take the container with you. Don't leave it.
Yes, please don't.
Take everything.
It's like the GT stash.
Right.
We told people when you find it, you take all of it with you, not like a regular geocache.
That's right.
You take the whole thing.
Take everything, including the cat.
Including the cache. Including the container.
The cat.
The cat. The cat too? Take the cat?
You have to take the cat.
Okay.
All right, Tom, final thoughts?
So one thing we kind of didn't go over is when you're solving this, I would take either a computer or a big notepad with me because, we said so many different ways to get there from here with the, set of 3 or 4 numbers. Put all the possibilities down and see where all of them go.
Yeah.
And then for the hide, like we said, don't put this little pill bottle under a lamp skirt. Put something large or if possible, get the library to let you put the logbook on the shelf in there. Make it a reference book.
Yeah. Gary?
My one thought I did want to say.
Yeah, why is this book not going to be a good?
This book is not good to do that on because periodically people will say to me, "Oh, you messed up X. You misspelled something in here." If it maybe misspelling's not the best one, but if there's something of significance that is incorrect in the book, I will go fix it. And I don't change the version just for me going in and tweaking it. So there might be tweaks that I have made. And so whenever the next person goes and purchases it off of Amazon, theirs will look identical to this, except for it'll be different than the version. Same ISBN. There's an ISBN number on mine. It's right there. So the problem is, though, that earlier versions of this will be possibly slightly different. So it's better to use a real author that published a real book.
So going with what Direwolf's posting up there, did you do that with the first edition?
See, that's been too long ago for me to remember. I think that I didn't. So I think the first edition you could do that with. I didn't make any changes. I'm pretty sure. The second one I did make changes because I had enough items that I felt like it needed to be
so the second could be the second or the 47th.
Well, I didn't make that many. I think I've only done that twice, I think, if I recall.
He missed an E.
That wasn't me. But anyway, so there you go. So and as far as final thoughts, other than that, I would say have fun with it and just try to keep, like Charles mentioned tonight, there's ways to minimize the ambiguity, but yet keep the creativity and the challenge still out there, because I like the fact that you can put those, 4,3,7, and you don't know what that is until you got to really work it out. So I love that. I never thought of that before. So good job, Charles.
And one last thing, you're in a library solving this. Control. We said air conditioning because we're thinking Texas. It could be up north and heated because you're in the snow. But regardless, when you figure it out, don't go, yay! Because it's a library. You're supposed to be quiet.
That's good. Way to go, Charles. I mean, way to go, Tom.
So
He's screaming.
we've given you a lot. This is our one last little plug at the end. If there's something that you would like to see
Or
on
you.
the show,
or that person.
that's right.
Maybe that one. Maybe that one over there.
Send us an email to puzzletalkpodcast@gmail.com. We'll put up a couple more puzzles on the Instagram page this week, and then we'll discuss all of the puzzles on next week's show at the very beginning. So don't be late. Pop into there, and we'll explain the puzzles from our Instagram page. You can find it at Puzzle Talk Podcast on Instagram. So until next week, guys, get out there and get cashing, and have fun. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in.
Good night.